Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Liverpool Latest. I would like to begin this video today talking about actually a completely different sport. There is a gentleman by the name of Yogi Berra who is a baseball player for the New York Yankees. A New York Yankees great, mind you. May he rest in peace. He had a famous quote that is often mentioned in any sort of media that the Yankees talk about Yogi Berra, and that is the quote, "It ain't over till it's over." That quote sums up today's game perfectly. And it can honestly go for both sides. For Liverpool, at the 90th minute plus 4 in stoppage time, I don't know why I said it like that. That's weird. But either way, at the 94th minute, Cody Gakpo scores a goal somehow that gives us the lead 2-1. And not even 3 minutes later, Harrison Reed scores an absolute screamer of a goal in the 97th minute. And honestly, at first I was angry. At first I was upset. But after about 20 seconds of the initial shock, I kind of said to myself, I can't even be mad. Because I didn't expect us to win this game. I didn't expect us to draw. Well, I did kind of more of expect us to draw, but I didn't expect us to win. So the fact that we even took the lead in the first place, and what would have been another come-from-behind bullshit extra time goal, it would have been typical for us for this season. But no, Harrison Reed had to ruin that for us. And not too long after, the final whistle was blown, and once again we come to the realization that Liverpool themselves blow. And that's how I feel about today's game. I can go into the statistics like I normally do, but honestly, none of that really fucking matters. Because it doesn't matter what we do on the field. We can dominate possession. We can have better accuracy in passing. It doesn't matter when we're trying to make a press and then one of our guys kicks the ball back to the center backs. Then the center back kicks it to Allison, and then we have to start all over again. Because that's what we play like now. We play slow, monotonous, boring football. And I hate it. This is not the Liverpool team of years past. Whether I was a fan or not is irrelevant. But in my time watching the team, however brief that may be for some, this was not the team that I enjoyed. We had a lot better, even on our worst games, we had really good offensive prowess. This, we're lucky we even score a goal. Frankly, some of the goals that we scored, I'm honestly shocked that we scored any goals, to be honest. I mean, we're very lucky the Wirtz goal was not an offside. And I'm actually really glad because they had called the Harry Wilson goal in the 17th minute a non-offside. VAR had anyway. And if they had not looked at that one and called the Wirtz goal an offside, that would have been some bullshit. Then we'd be having a completely different discussion today. But the fact that they said, hey, it's just barely onside by a freaking smidge. Same thing with the Wirtz goal, man. So I'm glad Florian Wirtz got his goal. But what I really want to talk about is this godforsaken lineup that Slot put out, which has me questioning any sort of faith I have in him as a manager, okay? What was originally, I think it was originally a 4-3-3 setup. We had, obviously, Allison in goal, Kirkez, Van Dijk, Konate, and Bradley to start. I thought Frimpong would start, but Bradley came back from, I think it was suspension. In the middle, we had Jones, McAllister, and Gravenberch. And then we had Wirtz, Gakpo, and Szoboszlai in the front three. I think that may have shifted to a 4-2-3-1 at some point in time, but from what I was watching on TV, it started out as a 4-3-3. What the fuck is this lineup? How the fuck are we expected to score any goals at all with this garbage? Okay? First of all, we have two guys that didn't start that probably should have, and instead we picked two midfielders instead of strikers in the front three. All right? Wirtz, I'm not angry about being in the lineup. I do wish he would have been in a different position. Szoboszlai, also not entirely angry of him being in the lineup, but still question why he was in that front three area, or one of the mid threes. Honestly, I don't even know, because this fucking formation I'm looking at online is completely different than what I saw on TV. So either way, my point is that we had other guys that could have started and helped us in the striking, like Chiesa, Rio. Meanwhile, Slot decides to basically start 5 midfielders and then Gakpo in front, if we're sticking with the 4-2-3-1 formation. What the fuck is this, man? Even worse, I almost didn't mention this. Even worse, I had no idea that Ekitike was hurt. Apparently, Ekitike was not fit enough for this match. So now our creativity or press is kind of shot, because Gakpo is just going to be the same slow, monotonous player that Slot wants him to be, which is why he starts every fucking match anyway, prior to that injury he had. So Ekitike's out, so any hope of us scoring goals would have been out the window regardless. Somehow, some way, he scored that goal, which was honestly really lucky. It went off of his knee. And the fact that it went in at all is a shock, because Gakpo was fucking horrendous at times trying to score. He was trying to... Some of the shots he had, or some of the opportunities he had, were pretty solid. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to bullshit you. But then there are other ones I'm looking at where I'm just like, you have to finish that better. You just know. And then there's other times he's just kicking it for the sake of fucking kicking it. Like that really narrow passway he had, where he tried to kick it, and hopefully it was going to bounce off the keeper, and it ended up going onto the side of the net. And I'm sitting here like, why even bother going for that? That's just a waste. To me, that's a waste of an opportunity. But I don't know. Gakpo is slowly but surely, if not already, souring on me as a player. I like Gakpo. You know, he's had some great games for us, and he's had some great... he's a good player for us in the past, but lately... It's just been, this whole season, it's just been very questionable with him. And the fact that he started over Ekitike is rough. The fact that he didn't have any really striking help. The Chiesa could have started with him. Rio could have started with him. They could have done a 4-3-3 or a real 4-3-3 where it was actually like, they could have had somebody, they could have had half of these players benched. Meanwhile, now they're risking injury to... Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our fucking midfielders, when we're already on an absolute, like, nobody left in our lineup. We're starting 5 midfielders to help out Gakpo score. Like, come on, man. Come on. This. I saw this online, and I said to myself, the fact that Ekitike didn't start, I'm just like, well, we're fucked. And we kind of were fucked, because that first half was terrible. Then the second half comes around, and some of these substitutions don't make any fucking sense to me. Now, I know I talked about in the last video that Florian Wirtz may have not even started to begin with. He would have subbed on, or if not played at all, because he was apparently had a hamstring injury. I'm actually shocked he started the match at all, frankly. And the fact that he lasted, 65 or something minutes he had on the field? So you mean to tell me he subbed Slot, subbed Wirtz off for Frimpong, then all of our creativity in the midfield is essentially shot, because McAllister is clearly... something's going on with him where he's not playing up to the standard that we know he's at. Szoboszlai, I mean, I don't remember him having all that much of an impact in the game. Same with Gravenberch. Jones, I think, was doing pretty good too. He had some pretty good offensive opportunities or setups for us. He also gets subbed off for whatever reason. I think he got Chiesa subbed him off. So two guys that should have, or one guy that should have started the match to begin with, got subbed. Has to get subbed on in the 80-something ass minute, and still Rio can't get a start, which is weird because I keep seeing the same thing over and over again, that apparently the reason why we got rid of Luis Diaz is because it would squander Rio's growth. Meanwhile, the guy hasn't played a single fucking game for us really all season. He's played like, what, 2 games across all competitions? Maybe 3? And outside, and he has 1 goal with that really spectacular goal he had early in the season. I really question Slot's decisions at this point. It's like some of these subs don't make any sense. I feel like the game gets worse the more substitutions Slot tries to make, and a lot of the times they're just asinine. There's just no tactics to them at all. It makes me upset. It truly makes me angry that this is the position that we are in, and it goes to show that maybe McAllister was right. Now, I didn't talk about this in the last video because I wanted a little bit more information on it to come out first, but here is what McAllister really said outside of the headlines in regards to his very blunt internal critique of the team. All right? Here's the deal. He's essentially saying that Liverpool has overcorrected too much after winning the league, and that too many changes have damaged the cohesion of the team, which I think anybody who watches these games can honestly agree, and anybody watching the last several months could clearly agree. There's a drop-off, and the drop-off is structural, excuse me, words are hard, not just form-based. He's quoted in saying, "We changed too many things, but I prefer to keep it to myself." And it goes to show that maybe despite our absolutely record-breaking summer transfer window, we made way too many changes when you really think about it. A lot of instability way too fast. A lot of new players have to get used to, 8 first-team signings? A lot of new players had to get used to the system. We got rid of a lot of players who already knew the system and helped with that system. So it's hard. Now, I'm not saying McAllister is shitting on his teammates. That's clearly not what I'm implying here, because he does say that they're all amazing players, but they're just not a team. And I made this point yesterday, or recently, in one of the previous videos this week, where I was talking about how Liverpool are a bunch of individuals that play on a football team, but they're not an actual team. And it hurts to say, and it seems as though I'm not the only one saying it. You aren't the only one thinking it. We have an actual player on our team who's honestly, would be a star midfielder if he would perform a little bit better, and maybe that's not entirely his problem. Maybe that's just the setup that Slot wants him to play right now. But as far as accepting the title, it's gone. Or not accepting the title. Challenging for the title, retaining the title. We have to accept the fact that it's gone. And McAllister also says that as well. He does believe the Champions League is a real target. The FA Cup is still a possibility too. Honestly, I'd be shocked if we win either of those at this rate, because clearly we're complete shit. But if you ask me, I think this says a lot about Slot's about how Slot has handled the team so far since winning the title. And I talked about this with my buddy Johnny, actually. The whole reason I'm actually a Liverpool fan to begin with. I talked about this with my buddy Johnny a day or so ago. And he said to me, Slot won with Klopp's team. I didn't trust him or I didn't like him the second he signed on. I would have preferred Gerrard. His words, exactly. And I think the words that McAllister's talking about, while I don't think he's explicitly saying it, are in direct confrontation to Slot's ideology with the team right now. And if that's the case, because this is not the first time this has happened, gee, I wonder where we heard this before. One particular Egyptian king made mention of this a little bit more specifically a couple weeks ago, and the internet had a field day with it, whether you were on his side or not. But now this is the second player saying, hey, I think we've made a lot of too many changes, way too many changes. We're not a team. We don't play like a team. There's no identity as a team. And I think the agenda is clear. Slot's got to be out. Sooner rather than later at this rate, because I don't know how much more I can take of this as a fan. I know I might be a little bit spoiled because I came in at a time where we were winning championships and I'm not used to the quote-unquote losing. But I've seen bad losses that we've had. And I know the type of team that we could be, especially with the talent we have. This is an abomination, all right? I don't know. I keep seeing the same quote too online, and I'm not saying I put a lot of stock in this, but the more I see it, the more I tend to believe it myself. Jurgen Klopp, many years ago when he took over helm of Liverpool, he wanted to turn doubters into believers. I saw a quote today that said, Slot is turning the believers into atheists. Oh my God, I saw that and chuckled and I cackled like a little schoolgirl, bro. That was a good one. I saw that after the loss. I say this is a loss. I consider this a loss. I don't care what anybody says. It's a draw on paper, but to me, it's deep down as a team, it's a loss. We're fucked. We're really fucked. Arsenal is going to win the league. Man City is apparently being really garbage. I didn't see the result of today's match for them, but we have no hope. All that shit talk we had last season when we won, all for Arsenal to probably win the league and are giving Arteta more ammunition than he ever could possibly need to say, hey, this was the plan all along. Whatever. Slot's got to go. I can't handle this, man. I watch this team and I read the press conferences. I watch them if I can, but I read the summaries of them online, and I just don't think he gets it. I genuinely don't think he gets it, because if he got it, he would probably make a little bit more drastic changes, because if you ask me, a lot of the changes he's been making with the lineups are fucking safe. At this point, there's no need to be safe. The title's gone. Maybe we have to focus a little bit more on the Champions League. Maybe focus a little bit more on the FA Cup, like McAllister says. But I am a wounded, hurt fan today, and I hate to say that out loud, but I'm not going to say I'm turning into an atheist from a believer. That's a little bit far, but I still think that's a great quote, though. But I don't know what to say at this point that hasn't already been said. And that's all I really have to finish this. Thank you guys for watching Liverpool Latest today. I appreciate you being here. Please leave your thoughts down below. I certainly would love to hear your thoughts on this match. As always, I'll have more news with you tomorrow. And you'll never walk alone, I guess. Although I certainly would like Slot to be on the unemployment line alone. That's for sure.